dear, hope this your phone on the lock. It the lock, eh? All right, you're welcome back. And in case you're just joining us, it's still Tuesday's edition of the program, Morning Ride. And we're looking at that spot where various papers having their different screaming headlines. Charity, they say, begins at home. And we'll take a break now. And I'm sure we'll come back from that break for 1 minute. We'll continue. But we'll have with us, first and foremost, the Pointer newspaper. The Pointer newspaper has more jobs for Delta youths on the way, says Oberiwori. More jobs for Delta youths on the way, says Oberiwori. Assures award of a full roundabout and the MPA road project. And we also have federal government scraps UTME requirement for NCE candidates, approves 150 as cutoff marks for universities and nursing colleges. All right, that is it for the Pointer newspaper this morning. And next point, we have the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune has Rivers, fate of Fubara's men hangs in the balance. Rivers, fate of Fubara's men hangs in the balance. That is it for the Nigerian Tribune. And under the New Telegraph, federal government admission outside JAM, illegal. Minimum entry age still 16 years. The Punch newspaper has federal government, World Bank in talks over second largest $1.25 billion loan. Federal government, World Bank in talks over second largest $1.25 billion. That is a loan facility that we're going to collect. All right, we'll get to that. Daily Independent, cost of living crisis hollows out Nigeria's insurance sector. Yes, and just what we have on also the other papers this morning. Federal government scraps UTME's requirement for NC applicants. Pegs varsity cutoff mark at 150. Poly at 100. Away from the Daily Independent, this day is our next paper, and this day has above the masthead, Presidency, Tinubu to spearhead Africa's economic transformation talks in Kenya. Trump, Iran ceasefire on life support, peace, document piece of garbage. Atiku, zoning self-defeating. Kwankwaso, I will run with Obi. That is it, this day, that is what we have there. Atiku, zoning, self-defeating. Kwankwaso, I will run with Obi. The Vanguard newspaper has 2027 presidency, Jonathan caught in PDP's quagmire. Away from the Vanguard, Daily Trust, is Tinubu changing security architecture? That is a question mark there. Is Tinubu's changing security architecture? All right, we also have 500 naira pepper, tomatoes disappear from markets as prices skyrocket. All right, from the Daily Trust, The Nation is our next paper. Atiku attacks NDC over zoning of presidential tickets to the South. And the Daily Sun, Senate sets 14-day deadline for senators-elect to be sworn in. That is one of the rules for the 11th Assembly. Senate sets 14-day deadline for senators-elect to be sworn in. They are to declare their seats vacant thereafter. All right, those are the dailies this morning, and joining me to speak on the component of what the various dailies are saying, I have Mr. Uchechka Victor, a publisher, CEO, Pathways newspaper. Yeah, Vic, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Nometano, and thank you for having me this morning.
All right, we started with our own, the Pointer newspaper, and the Pointer newspaper has two stories there that are major for us this morning to look at. Delta State government appoints 11 permanent secretaries. That's on one side, and we also hear the governors, Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriwori, say more jobs for Delta youths underway. Yes, I know. Both of them are they are sharing news.
Yes, I think it's a welcome development for the civil servant in Delta State. And what I read, it's long overdue to appoint the permanent secretaries. But we are glad that the governor in his magnanimity has actually do the needful, because there is no ministry that can function effectively without a permanent secretary. Because the permanent secretary is like the engine room of every ministry, aside the commissioner being the political class. Like in the local government, the head of personnel management is the engine room of the local government. So also the secretaries are the engine room of every ministry, aside the commissioner, because the commissioner have a tenure that may allows or can be removed from office by the discretion of the governor according to the constitution. Moving forward on issue of more jobs, yes, Governor Oboriwori have done excellently well for Delta State. If you look at that paper in page 4, there is a story that is actually emanated from my desk, where I spoke about the growing of APC in Delta State because of the infrastructural development of Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriwori. So creating more jobs for the youth is what we actually need at this point. We need the governor to do the needful by opening opportunity for the youth to be gainfully employed, and that will actually reduce the social vices that ravage the state. And I believe by so doing, it's also indirectly making the youth to be self-reliant and also to put food on their table. He's doing well, the governor mean well for Delta State, and that is why we are also urging him to do more, because much is given, much is also expected of him. It's a welcome development for us to have more job, and we're also calling on the newly appointed permanent secretary to take their office as a service to humanity. We have seen people who have opportunity to be a permanent secretary and close the door against the people under them, like their subordinate and all of that. They try to see how they can loot the state funds. That should not be their major aim of occupying that office. Their aim of occupying that office is to do what? Is to render services to the government and the citizen of Delta State, especially in the area of their coverage. Okay. So it's a welcome development.
All right, that's a good one. That's from the stable of the Pointer newspaper this morning. So we'll go straight to the Nigerian Tribune that has, as a screaming headline here, Rivers, fate of Fubara's men hangs in the balance.
I have seen series of videos and a series of stories in regarding to what is actually happening. Like in one of the video where I watched, the governor, after leaving the screening committee's office in Abuja, refused to speak to the journalists. Maybe because of what he perceived to be sidelined. Because the issue between the incumbent governor and the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, have not been laid to rest. No matter how the presidency trying to intervene. And I look at it in the sense that the presidency is also trying or is backing the FCT minister in terms of taking decisions of what happened in Rivers State. We can recall how the governor was suspended for the period of 6 months and administrative governor was appointed. Then after that, he was restated and all of that. And he conducted a local government election and it was also dissolved and a new local government chairman was also brought on board. I think it's not a new story. What we just pray that the government, the people of Rivers State will stand behind whoever they wish that it should be their leader. We are not talking about politics now. We are talking about governance. What is essential is that if Fubara can deliver the dividends of democracy to the people, Wike should allow him to complete his tenure. Because the same way Wike fought Amechi, fought Odili, is the same thing that is applicable to him and Fubara. I see no reason why he's crying wolf, because if you cook for someone to eat and it was so you have oversalt food for somebody to eat, and at the same time they cook oversalt food for you, you shouldn't complain because you have done the same to your predecessor. So what we are trying to do is to watch and see how things unfold, because even the governor, His Excellency Governor Fubara, have refused to speak on that or to date on what transpired. But we are seeing some sessions of the people who was not screamed, who was disqualified to contest for the State House of Assembly. They are currently calling on the people of Rivers State. Maybe the governor have alternative to ensure that they come on board. We are watching kindly, and we hope and pray that this will not cause further chaos in Rivers State.
Yeah, still talking about Rivers State, because I know that at the point, Mr. President, rather the APC, which is the ruling party, gave the governors the free hand to bring in by way of consensus endorsement.
Yes.
You know, is it now that Wike is having a very strong grip on Rivers State?
I think it's because of the fear of Wike. Is the reason. The fear of Wike is the major reason why the presidency are still reluctant to allow Fubara to do the needful. Like in other states, like Delta State, for instance, I believe that His Excellency Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowore have 80% input of who comes in. I read a story where Oliver posted, Fejiro Oliver, that so many aspirants was locked outside. Why the APC issue a declaimer to that issue, a rejoinder that that was not the true situation, the true picture of the situation. And Fubara in question is a weak man. Why do I say he's a weak man? Because when you fight battle that you cannot, when you start a war that you cannot win, that makes you a weak man. Before you start a war, you must have the mechanism, the things that will be put in place, that as you move further, you begin to bring them on board. For instance, if you look at the warship used by the United States, in that warship or in that aircraft, there are still other aircraft in that particular aircraft. When the enemy bombed the first one, you still have another one that will come on board. So what am I saying is that before Fubara kickstart this war between him and the FCT minister, he's supposed to have the support of the people of Rivers State. We're also seeing where Wike is also visiting local government by local government in ensuring that he also have the backup of the people of what he's doing. So I believe the presidency is afraid of losing Rivers State if they back Wike. I can remember vividly what the national chairman of All Progressive Congress, the APC, said, that Wike, the governor, which is Fubara, is the leader of the APC in Rivers State. That whoever that is the governor of the state is the leader of the political party, the ruling party in the state. But in terms of reality, we are not seeing it. Wike is the only politician in Nigeria that have a dual party membership in terms of control of party structures. Wike is in charge of River APC and at the same time in charge of River PDP. So I believe that the presidency and the ruling party does not want to lose the River State to opposition. That is why they actually align the
but don't you think that is anti-party?
Yes, that is in terms of it's anti-party in terms of in our constitution. Previously, we were in PDP before we left to APC. In our constitution, anti-party is anti-party. If you are in PDP, for instance, and still get hold or work with the opposition party, is anti-party. But today, Wike have jeopardized everything concerning the PDP. We have fashion, the Makinde fashion, the Wike fashion, and all of that. A story was, I saw a story on the social media yesterday that the Taraba State PDP fashion of Nyesom Wike was actually, he picked up a form from APN, to run under APN, but he's selling form for candidate under PDP. That is to say they don't have no confidence for the political party they belong to. I think it's hard time Nigerians will come to our drawing board and also realize that these people are not interested of our internal democracy. What they are interested is to remain in power. And doing so, it is important for us, the youth, is due to club to come on board and be a participant in this election that is coming.
All right, so quickly, would also take this other story, political, just take them one by their strides. Well, this one that says, Atiku, zoning self-defeating. Zoning self-defeating. And Kwankwaku replies by saying, I will run with Obi.
Yes,
let's have your comment on that.
I must state here that Atiku have gradually become irrelevant. In quote, I'm sorry for using that word because if you refuse to play the role of a father in terms of advice, in terms of contribution, in terms of work, you become irrelevant. Atiku from 1999 understand the zoning formula of every ruling party, even opposition parties, that if it is time for the South, every political party that want to claim power will zone their presidential ticket to the South. If it is done for the North, every political party, both the ruling party and opposition party, zone the ticket to the North. Now, let's start from 2023. In 2023, Atiku understands that it is impossible for him to return to power after Buhari 8 years. And he sees this the same thing because he is the oldest meat in that gang. Let me use that word. The oldest meat in the sense that he is the oldest politician among these circles of politicians, aside Tinubu and other governors. He is the oldest meat, and with his influence, he can influence primaries in terms of maybe vote buying, building bridges, advising aspirants to step down for him. Now, making that assertion that zoning is a self-defeat, I think he understands that he's supposed to play according to the rule. Yes, zoning is a self-defeat in the sense that we need a capable hand to rule. He feels that he's the one that is the best to do the job. But according to the gentleman agreement, that is not the true position of things. True position of the thing is that now that the power is in the South, every meaning political party that are ready to fight should zone their ticket to the South. Allow the South, whether from the Southeast, whether from the South-South, whether from the Southwest, to do what? To produce their candidate. Then the North will back whoever they produce. And when it is time for the North to produce the presidential candidate, the South will allow them to produce their presidential candidate and also do what? Back whoever they produce. So I think Atiku is gradually losing relevant in terms of political space. And believe you me, if nothing happened in this 2027, Atiku may not have it when he returns to the North. Why? Because the people who you are fighting from the South will be the same people that will queue behind another candidate to fight you from the North. So it is a warning to him. If he went to play further role, let them merge with NDC and support a viable candidate at the opposition level to see if they can emerge as the winner. Then they can now hand power over to him.
Because as it is now, he still remains with
ADC.
ADC.
Yes.
You know, and we have sensing that is an Atiku Amici ticket for ADC, which has already died on arrival.
You see, Atiku is somebody who understands politics and try to ride on the wings of people. I was telling somebody yesterday, I said the APC in Delta State at the state level are riding on the wings of the developmental strive for His Excellency Right Honorable Sheriff. So also, because Amici have so much money, they have not spent what he have during the Buhari administration, because he did not run for the president. It's just the primary that he ended, and he have money. And Atiku understand this game, that if I can hold this young man, as he did to our former governor, he bring him on board, and some of our resources were released. He did the same thing to Peter Obi, and Peter Obi through his bank. Somebody was saying that PDP is still indebted to Fidelity Bank about 6-point-something billion for the 2019 general election. So I think Atiku is more businessman in terms of running for this office than a politician. Because he tried to ride on the wings of others, bringing them together. Look, if you can get this, you have this. Let's put it. You put in your resources, like what Ogbori did. My father-in-law was a merchant in terms of timber. He was a timber merchant, but Ogbori folded up his company. Ogbori will come to their village and bring them together. They will load their money in their bag. Instead of a governorship candidate to give them, they will be the one to give. He said, when I win, I will give you all the old bush for you to do what to you to farm your timber. So I think Atiku is well to ride on the resources of Peter Obi. Though he's a wealthy man, I'm not saying that he's not wealthy, but in terms of releasing money for politics, Atiku tried to ride on people's utilize their resources.
He just knows.
Yes, know the game, and when he bring you on board, you will bring out funds.
Even when he still knows that
he will not
he's
win.
not getting there.
Yes,
because there's no gentleman agreement.
Yeah.
In principle, by way of biro on paper, that
power should return to the north.
Power should return to the north.
Yes.
Because if we go by the principle of how we've been running through since 1979, it's not rule, South rule.
Yes,
not
true,
rule,
South
rule.
Yeah.
You know, there's no legislative bill backing it up.
But it's a gentleman agreement.
It's a gentleman agreement.
Well, we understand. Even it's applicable in Delta State. After the north, it will go back to the central. After central, it will go back to south. So this is a gentleman agreement. And you respecting this gentleman agreement. If you look at what happened during the 2023 election, in the primary in PDP, when we were in PDP, that brought on board Governor Sherry, Idewe was supposed to be in line after Okowa. But because he did not respect the gentleman agreement, that, oh, it's the time of the North, don't run with them. Allow the North to contest within themselves and let the most popular candidate come on board. You will support. When you get to the central, we allow you, and it was the head. That is what Okowa, when Okowa was explaining this, people were thinking that he's a bad man. No. If you refuse to accept or respect the gentleman agreement for the North to remain in power for 8 years, after that, the power will go back to central. When it's going back to central, we will not allow you to support you. So that was what pushed Idewe out of the governorship race. And he's supposed to be in government house today. So it's hard time that we, the young politicians, understand these little mistakes. Because if you allow yourself to be used either by people who feel that, oh, I'm running out of age, if I didn't do it now, I will not do it. I think that is one of the challenges Atiku is facing. It's, oh, if I don't do it now, when will I do it? Let me do it. So if you are saying you must remain there, allow the principles of a gentleman agreement to stay.
All right, I will also see the response from Kwakwanso that says, I will run with Obi.
Yes.
Kwakwanso, to me, is more sensible. Because we know that definitely by the time power wants to shift
to the north,
even if they don't beat APC to the game, you know, by the time power wants to shift to the north,
he have gained the popularity.
He has gained the popularity.
Yes.
And, you know, he stands a better chance than even Atiku himself.
Yes, Kwankwaso, I think in one of the statements he made before he defected to ADC with Kwankwasonya movement, one of the famous political movement in the north, he said that he regretted not being a vice, not vicing Peter Obi in 2023 general election. That I wish he viced Peter Obi. Today they could have been in the presidential villa. That he does not want that mistake to repeat itself. That is a man with foresight. People were saying that Kwankwaso is too old for Peter to vice Peter Obi. I say, look, if you look at Sambo and Jonathan, you would think that Sambo is a father to Jonathan. But Sambo was so humble and served meritoriously under Jonathan. Today, his name is written on the marble that he's one of the most peaceful vice presidents we have in this nation. So Kwankwaso saying that they were wrong with Peter Obi is a welcome development for this nation. Because we are looking at strong opposition. There is no country that moves forward without opposition. You must have opposition. In other Western world, even in Africa, if you look at what happened in India, the current president that was elected recently, you see that they started with opposition, that no, we don't need this. And Jonathan was one of the delegates that was sent from the ECOWAS to monitor the election. Because the Cuban presidency, the president is losing election, he collided with the military and released a news that it was what? The government had been overthrown. They said no. When Jonathan returned, Jonathan told them no, that was not the true position of things. That it was the president and some other top military officers that applied the coup. That was not the true position. And the election was conducted, and the young man in the opposition defeated the incumbent president. I think there is a need for us to have a formidable opposition moving forward. Because without opposition, there is no way the ruling party will wake up or the ruling administration will step up. Because if you have nobody that can challenge you, you will not do well. All you need to do is just to wake up in the morning, feel relaxed, eat and sleep. But when you have somebody to say, oh, it's time for school, you must go to school, you will get up. That is how life is. So if you have nobody to challenge you or you have no responsibility that is waking you up at midnight, that makes you to think throughout the night and wake up in the morning and get ready early to start your day, you will not work well. So allow opposition. I also want to appeal to the INEC and the judiciary. These two agencies are one of our problems we are still facing in terms of internal democracy. They are more on the opposition party, taking cognizance of what is happening in the opposition party than what is happening in the ruling party. Like issue of embezzlement fund that are allegedly leveled against the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Senator Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. We have not heard anything from the judiciary. We have not heard anything from the INEC. If it were from the opposition party, they said they can't control themselves if they have an embezzlement. So let us allow opposition party to have their stake in this nation in order to maintain our democracy.
All right, the very last story for 2027 presidency from the Vanguard. Jonathan caught in PDP's quagmire. We saw a lot of people agitating that Ebele, Goodluck Jonathan, should come out. And some people said, what has he left behind? 6 years ruling this country is enough for every contentment. What's your take?
I think I think we are all political animals. Like in terms of political science, he said every human is a political animal. Jonathan on his own, he still has his own decisions to take if he have to run or not. But the clause there is that nobody can take oath of office more than 2 times. They are challenging Jonathan that he took oath of office after the death of Yar'Adua. And he also took oath of office immediately he won the second tenure, let's use that word, first tenure election. So that is to say he will not be eligible to do what? To contest presidential election anymore. But I think we have to allow the judiciary to make their decision. They have the power to decide whether it's constitutional or it's unconstitutional. Now, in terms of PDP have no structure to win an election in this particular dispensation. I can tell you for free, anybody who is agitating for PDP to fill presidential candidate, fine, you can fill a presidential candidate in order not to allow the space to be vacant. But in terms of winning an election, PDP have no structure to win election, because the party have been divided to the extent that we are not seeing two factions in the newspaper, in social media. But there are some other factions that are going on, even in the state. Like in Delta State, for instance, we have two factions. The faction of Marapo and the faction of the former deputy governor, Kingsley Tuare. So all these things are challenges that are facing this party. So if party have these challenges, there is no way they can win an election. So Jonathan should not make that mistake. Let me tell you, people who are clapping for you, I was telling one young man yesterday, I posted it on my status. He had a business with somebody and they're having challenges. I told him, I said, pray for you not to be in a vehicle that have a flat tire. A flat tire in the sense that the driver is aware that this vehicle have a flat tire. It will not tell you, it will allow you to enter. It will just drive one pole and say, please, oh, I want to stop at Vulcanizer. It will stop. Maybe the tire is leaking. When you drive 1 mile again, you say, please, let me stop. Before you know what is happening, they have dark. You will not be able to get to your destination. So Jonathan should not allow people who are clapping for you, come around, come around. If Jonathan comes to run, even if Peter will be in opposition, all they want him to do is to share him up, to come out and divide the vote of the opposition, not for the ruling party. If Jonathan runs today, it is the vote of NDC and the vote of ADC that will divide. Not few will come from the opposition, the ruling party. So Jonathan should see the sword and remain as a elder statesman. Let that respect remain there. Maybe in subsequent election that is healthy and strong, it can run. But in this 2027 election, I see no reason why Jonathan should run for presidency.
Okay, but probably in the next 10 years.
Yes, in the next 10 years, he can decide. Yes, anything comes to the south.
Switch back to the
yes,
south.
he cannot be free to run.
Okay, we'll take this story from, we're done with every story as far as politics is concerned, because they all occupy the major papers this morning. But Daily Trust has a different narrative.
Okay.
It says, is Tinubu changing security architecture? It has a question mark there now. Is Tinubu changing security architecture?
I think
Your thought process.
the presidency, let me use that. I was telling somebody, I said the policies on paper did not reflect the reality on ground in terms of policies and programs of the federal government. The issue of security architecture have been a burden in this state, in this country, because it is very, very unprofessional for a military general to be killed by insurgents, which is happening in this our nation, even in our own eyes. So if Tinubu decide to change the security architecture, I think he's doing the right thing. Let the best come on board. We agitated that we need the former chief of staff, the former chief of army staff, Christopher. Then they made him the minister of defense. Today we still have some challenges in terms of security. But if the president decides to change the security architecture, it's a welcome development, because as we approach 2027 election, a lot of crimes and a lot of things will be done. People will lose the opportunity to do or to carry out their crimes. So it is important for him to look inward, look at the areas that the agencies that are not doing well, it can change them. It is in statutory duty to do so. So we have no right to challenge that. All we want for him is to secure the life and property of this
nation.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, quickly, just before we round up, we'll take a story before the last. From the Punch newspaper, federal government, World Bank in talks over second largest $1.25 billion loan. To me, that is humongous.
Yes, not just humongous. It's a crime against Nigerian citizens. Because like what I said, the policies on paper it does not reflect the reality on ground. We are borrowing daily, every week, every month. The president is sending later to the presidency, and the senators who we elect to checkmate the executive are rubber stamp. Akpabio is just sitting there. Anything that comes from the executive, it will just stamp it, boom. Anything that comes from the executive, it will just stamp it. That is not how to run a government. If we borrow all this money, there is nothing attached to it that we are borrowing this for this, we are borrowing this for this, and it will reflect the project. For instance, if you said you went to go to the bank to take a loan to run an agricultural, bank will monitor that agriculture. They will go to your farm to see how you will be able to plant, the things after planting, how the season of your harvest and all of that, before that loan will be approved. But in terms of what is happening at the presidential level, we don't know where this money is going. And the election now is closed. If you are you taking this loan to fund the election, or you are taking the loan to fund infrastructure? We don't know. So all these things is a question to the presidency. Are you taking this loan to fund the election, or you are taking this loan to fund infrastructure? Because it is a crime against us for us to have accumulated loan from in the local loan and international loan. Every week, every month, we see loan coming from here and there to borrow money, that the presidency went to borrow money. We don't see what they are using this money for. So, presidency, please, for clarity's sake, let the citizen know why this so much amount of money will be borrowed and what is meant for. Because we are afraid that this will be used for 2027 election.
The writer here just quickly says, loan approval expected 6 months before the 2027 presidential election.
Yes, this is what we are saying. Now, you are going to fight a battle with your enemy. You said you went to fight a free and fair battle, but you are telling people to remain behind in case they defeat you. That is the use of this money we are talking about. This money, believe you and I, is going to be used to fund 2027 election. I heard allegedly from Arise TV that almost 800 billion was in that account made by the progressive governors. That from the money, they went to use it as a Renew Hope ambassadors to fund the presidential election. Why some of their state workers have not been paid? You are reserving money, deducting money from CAFI to keep, from FAC to keep, in order for you to organize support group like Renew Hope. Renew Hope for presidency. But some of your staffs have not been paid. Some of the agents, some of the equipment used in some of those ministries in your state are not functioning. So I don't know how we got to this situation. But all what we are saying is that there is a need for us to change the narrative. And the ways to change this narrative is by your vote. We as citizens of this country, it's through our vote that we can rewrite what is happening to us. If we want to face the same situation after 2027 or face the worst situation, let us come out and vote people who don't have our interests at heart. But if we want to change the narrative, let us vote for people who are ready to do what? To take this nation forward.
Okay, I'd like to thank you so much, Victor Ucheka, CEO, Publisher Pathways, for speaking to the conversation of the review this morning on our papers.
Thank you very much.
We hope to have you again as usual.
Thank you.
All right, this is where we'll draw the curtains of today. And we do hope that we've done in our little best to make sure